Welcome to Inside the Paint, an inside look into all of the action of the British Basketball League. Week 11 of this season is underway and we have 8 games coming your way, so make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the action. Well, this Thursday night, the Newcastle Eagles travel down south for a rematch against the London Lions. Let's take a look at what happened. The Eagles meant business when they arrived at the Copper Box, taking charge out of the gate and dominating the pace, whilst the London Lions looked exhausted from their Euro Cup game the night before and finished the first quarter down by 13 points. The Eagles continued to capitalise on a lacklustre performance by the Lions, forcing turnovers and stealing the ball at every available opportunity and racked up 22 points from turnovers. London was feeling the pressure as the first half finished 34-62. Petar Bozic must have shaken the Lions awake during half-time because they came back in the third and went on a 10-point run. Meanwhile, the Eagles failed to score for 3 minutes, but Newcastle soon came back and finished the third up by 29 points. London visibly dejected, and while they tried to cut the Eagles' huge lead, it was too little too late, and the Eagles dealt with the Lions, their second league loss of the season, with a final score of 102-80. Wow. Azania Stewart and Coach Rob Paternostro alongside me. And Coach Rob, you watched the game alongside me. Tell me what your thoughts are, because, wow, we weren't expecting that kind of result tonight, were we?
Well, when I saw the lineup that London put out, I knew they'd be in a little bit of trouble, especially playing last night. And you could tell from the start of the game, they were really struggling to get back on defense, look slow off the pace, and give Newcastle credit because they really took advantage of that.
They did. And Azania, you commentated on Friday night's game. It was a game for Newcastle. Like you said, they took the opportunities, but London looked so tired.
Yeah, they really did. Struggled, but also 21 turnovers is just not going to get it down. But what Newcastle came out with, Jeanette, was energy. They were incredible, really led the game the whole way.
And that's what they wanted. They needed that energy. They're on a now winning streak of 6. So this is something for Newcastle they're going to have to capitalise on and see if they can carry that on through the league. But we have 2 games on this Friday night. First tip-off is between the Caledonia Gladiators hosting the Cheshire Phoenix. And these teams will face off twice this weekend. And we'll take a closer look at that action in just a moment. The other game on Friday, we'll see the Manchester Giants host the Plymouth City Patriots. These 2 teams met once before at the start of the season, where Manchester secured the win by 4 points. Drew Lasker will call this game tomorrow. And Drew, these teams look pretty different from the first time they met. Plymouth, they've signed new players and William Lee has returned to Manchester. Do you think we could expect a repeat of last time?
Yeah, Jeanette, you're right. Both of these teams are completely different since the last time they faced off. And actually, I think they're better. When you look at Plymouth, they've added Terrell Green, who brings them 3-point shooting, which we know they're at the bottom of the league when it comes to that. And then on the other side, you mentioned it, William Lee, who's been out with an ankle injury all season. We know what he can bring. He was the player of the month to start the season last year, but unfortunately sat out most of the year. So he's already brought value to Manchester. They go to Bristol, get a game there on the road. And so this is a game that both teams know, but being at the bottom of the league, that they got to get.
They have to. They absolutely do. And do you agree with Drew there, Coach Rob? You know, when a player comes back from injury into the team, how much does that impact? Do they bring a boost to that team?
Well, William Lee played for me, and he was a fantastic player to coach. And I think when watching Manchester, they look like a much improved side. They're 3-10 in the league, but they look much better than that. I thought they were excellent against London on Sunday, too. Took the loss, but took them right down to the wire. So it's definitely an improved team in Manchester.
Yeah, and having said that, Zane, did you ever experience that, having somebody come into the team, knowing they've been out for ages, and how did it make the rest of the team feel seeing them back?
Well, it's part of the game, right? Injuries happen, teams coming in and out with different players, and you have to kind of get them back into rhythm. It takes a time for, especially if an injured player is coming back, you have to help them out. There are moments where they're down and they're struggling, but I think it's part of the game, but also just helping them hand in hand from the coach and the players. It takes everyone to get on board.
It does indeed. Let's see how William Lee goes. It should be a good one to watch. On Saturday, there's another doubleheader will be coming your way, starting with the Surrey Scorchers hosting the Newcastle Eagles. We're joined by our commentator, Todd Harris. Todd, after the Eagles' performance against the Lions tonight, do you think they'll continue to climb the league standings? What a performance from them.
Yeah, no question about it, Jeanette. I think that's the big question is how do they handle the success? You know, they're going to come off this victory against London, 22 points, getting it at the Copper Box, and that's not something easy to do. The only other team that's beaten London this year, Plymouth City. So Newcastle climbing the ladder. They now sit in 5th overall on the overall table in the British Basketball League. But you get 25 points from Jordan Johnson again. They look very good, but now they get one travel day, and then it's back on the court against Surrey, a team that'll be very hungry. But I really like this makeup of Newcastle right now with Ricky McGill, Jordan Johnson, and now you factor in Larry Austin Jr. That's a 3-guard rotation that is deadly, and they've got some great inside play. Taj Green, Josh Ward-Hibbert, all big contributors. So I think the Newcastle Eagles are for real, and I think they'll handle their business when they get down to Surrey. But can they maintain this level of excellence going forward? That's the big question.
Oh, Todd, thank you so, so much. And that's the thing, isn't it? The Newcastle Eagles, they recruited big and heavy in the summer. They didn't have the start they wanted, Azania, but what we're seeing now, them really stepping into their own and finding a bit of an identity, I think.
Yeah, and Josh Ward-Hibbert talked about it. This is a special group, and they're just scratching the surface. It's a long season, Jeanette. We're only in November, and this is going to go for a while, but you can see their confidence. And I think this game versus London Lions just breeded it, showed it, and you can just keep working on that. I just thought they did a complete game. They looked wonderful.
Do you take much away from that then as a team? If you're the Eagles, you take away that kind of win against the London Lions and you take it into other games? Or do you know that maybe the London Lions were a bit off tonight? How do you take it?
Hey, they knew that that team was down, but they're playing good basketball. What I like about them, you see real camaraderie with the group. They seem together. They're traveling to Europe during the week a lot of times, and that brings a team closer together, spending a lot of time together. So I think that they're a team that is really hitting their stride at the moment. It will be a tough game in Surrey. Surrey, always a tough place to play. Obviously, Surrey didn't play tonight, so they're going to have an opportunity to be waiting for Newcastle. Yeah. So it's a real challenge with the schedule.
Let's see how they go.
You even saw them with the Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving
dinner.
Wasn't it?
I think that's a moment that you can all come together, and that's what all about. Like Thanksgiving is about, right?
Yeah,
Coming together.
Teamwork. It looked good, and you could clearly see that this is a team that they want to be able to come together and play well, and they're doing exactly that. Make sure to let us know what you think. Leave a comment down below to let us know if you agree with our commentary team, and give us your predictions for the week ahead. To finish off on Saturday, Rob's team, Leicester Riders, will host the Manchester Giants, and Leicester has had some big changes to their roster, releasing Braylon Bridges, Caleb Asbury, Xavier Pinson. And Coach Rob, that's a big, big change for the team. What kind of lineup should we expect to see?
Well, we got a bunch of guys this week that are pretty excited to play, especially at home. You know, we've had a great home crowd. We lost the last 2 on the road, so it's nice to be back at home. Obviously, we are down in depth, but we're looking forward to working with these guys. These guys are smart, intelligent, and a group that's going to give it all. So, yep, big changes, but we wanted to turn a page and go in a different direction, and hopefully on Saturday versus Manchester, we'll do that.
We'll see how you go. We wish you the best of luck. You're one of our favourites. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? Well, I've said it if I'm not. Anyway, Azania, for you, we spoke about injuries and how they impact the team and players coming back. What about big roster changes? What about that? You know, if one of your best friends in the team maybe leaves, or a big playmaker, how does that affect or impact?
Also part of basketball season, with players and coaches could change. I've had a coach change, and it's really about what's already in place. Your veteran pieces are going to have to show them the ropes, show them how it's done, but they've got to learn quick. There's a very short window, but it takes time also. I don't think people realize that gelling and that chemistry happens off and on the court, but it's for a good. Some things upstairs don't like, and you have to change it. And as a player, you need to remember that. You need to do your job because this is a professional
Absolutely, it's a professional job. You have to be on it. We can move on now. Sheffield against Bristol to finish off the weekend. We have 3 games tipping off this Sunday, starting with the Sheffield Sharks hosting the Bristol Flyers. And Sheffield have been playing really well recently and have won 4 out of their last 5 league games. And Azania, in terms of Sheffield and what they're able to do, who's impressed you in the last few weeks? They've been playing so well.
Well, I'm going to have to say Pipkins. Yes. He is dominating the highlight reel. I mean, he's just all over social media, but also Ramsey. They're a 1-2 punch with Coach Lyons. I think they're just playing an all-round game and really exciting to watch. But I think those 2 guys at the point guard and the guards, and Coach, they're a handful. I'm really enjoying them playing.
I'm going to mention a name to you, Coach Rob, CJ Jackson. Oh, he's back. And I know he used to play for you. How happy are you to see him back from injury?
Yeah, CJ, good player, good guy. When he came to us last season, he was injured, and he never really recovered. So he didn't get an opportunity to show what he's made of. But had a nice game during the week in European competition, and I think his veteran leadership will help this Bristol team. Remember, they're 2 guards down with the injuries that they have, so they really needed to bring in a reinforcement, and they brought in a guy with a lot of experience. I think he should help them out.
Well, let's see how he goes. Injury-free, that's the main thing for him, I guess. And the second game on Sunday is a rematch between the Plymouth City Patriots and the Surrey Scorchers. Now, last time these two teams met, the game went to overtime, and before Surrey took home the win. This is Surrey's second week with back-to-back games. And Coach Rob, how difficult is it now to have these 2 days in a row back-to-back? We've just seen it with the London Lions. What is that about? Like, how do you manage that?
It's very difficult. You certainly have to stretch, ice, and everything after the game, but it's more than just physically. It's mentally. It's mentally to get up for another game, but also you don't get an opportunity to prepare for the team the same way you do when you have a week's preparation. So it's kind of on the fly. You want to have your veteran guys really step up on days like that, not just on the floor, but mentally in the locker room to get the team ready to play.
And what's that like, though, mentally, Azania? Because I guess, we have all of the resources to physically make sure that you're trying to get back and recover, but mentally, that's very individual, isn't it?
Yeah, it's individual, but I also think it's about you. With this such short turnaround, you don't have really time to scout. So you really concentrate at what are we good at? What are we going to force on the other team? But I think the biggest part is the stretch, it's the ice, it's the rest, it's the hydration. And I think as a professional athlete, that is an even bigger part to your performance. You know how it is.
I know, I try, but I don't want to go too far back, doesn't
Fine wine,
it's not all
honey.
the best memories, of coming back. But then just on that,
Yeah.
the league isn't going to change. These games are going to come thick and fast, especially if you're in multiple competitions. And coaches know this, don't they, Coach?
Yeah, you know that going into the game, going into the season, you understand that the schedule is going to be challenging, and there will be a lot of highs and lows because of that. You look around the league and you see some losses, you say, hey, that's a schedule loss. But the teams that are at the top of the table find a way to get it done.
Yeah, they do. We'll just see how they go. And to finish off the weekend, the Cheshire Phoenix and the Caledonia Gladiators will meet for the second time. Now, these teams had a great rivalry last year. They met in the trophy final where Caledonia won it with a buzzer beater. What do you think about renewing this rivalry, Azania? It's exciting, isn't it?
I love it. I'm not going to lie. And we've seen that highlight on repeat, Caledonia, that baseline shot. Do you know what? But I feel like Cheshire is playing very, very well. Aaron Rye is back from injury. You're seeing multiple guys, Jack, play very well. But also, I'm just enjoying that. You can see their chemistry on the floor. I think it's going to be a difficult game. But we'll have to see how it goes down.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it because I guess if you had that off the back of last season,
Yeah.
and it's fresh in the memory, isn't it, Coach Rob? You just want to make sure that that feeling doesn't happen again for anyone in that situation. They're going to just play out.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think what's interesting about this weekend is they play twice.
Yeah.
Once on Friday, once on Sunday. It's almost like a playoff series. That's how the playoffs are going to be. So when you play Friday, you get to Saturday, and what adjustments can you make on Sunday? That'll be really important heading into Sunday. I'll go with both home teams. Last year, I think the home teams won all the games in this matchup. And this year, it's finding Cheshire's a tough place to play and Caledonia as well. So I'll go with the home teams
Yeah,
on this.
Caledonia is always tough. People always say going up to Caledonia is a tough place to play. But for them, like you say, it's about understanding from the first game what they can learn and change in the second game. How realistic is that those changes can be made in that time?
Well, it's somewhat a short memory too, but also like Coach said, you do have to critique just small things, but it just depends how that game goes. You have to cut the film, you have to watch what you can do better or what you did completely wrong. But that's quite an exciting. I think that was a great point, Coach, about it's a playoff style, and there's not that many times in the season that you can get this back-to-back, get your own back really, really quickly. So that's going to be an exciting game. I can't wait to watch that.
It's going to be an exciting week here in the British Basketball League. We can take a look at some of the fixtures that are coming up in this week. You can take a look here. As we said, on Saturday, I should say on Friday. Friday comes before Saturday. Friday, Manchester Giants take on the Plymouth City Patriots at 7:45, and the Caledonia Gladiators take on the Cheshire Phoenix at 7:45. Same time. Our coverage starts here on the YouTube channel on Saturday. The Surrey Scorchers and the Newcastle Eagles at 5 o'clock, followed up by the Leicester Riders. Coach Rob will be in action at 8 o'clock against the Manchester Giants. And then 3 games for you on Sunday. The Sheffield Sharks against the Bristol Flyers at 3 o'clock. Plymouth City Patriots against the Surrey Scorchers at 4:30. And the Cheshire Phoenix against the Caledonia Gladiators at 6 o'clock. Like we say, they play each other twice, one home, one away. What a weekend we've got in store for you. Now, that is all from us this week. Please do drop us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking, who you're cheering for, what you're loving, what you're not liking. And make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the unbeatable action from the British Basketball League.